Dr. Okeya, for sharing your getting from other people's experiences. You say you have to apply to quite a number of programs. So specifically for emergency medicine, what gave you the confidence maybe to apply to just about 60 programs? We see some people tell us you have to apply to maybe 100 programs. Then the second question is on the letters of evaluation that you talked about. Yes. How far back should the letter be? I'm asking with regards to the date, because you see that when you're still in medical school, it's quite challenging to get a rotation unless probably you've coordinated with your school. So assuming probably someone applies for residency sometime after they got their letter of evaluation, how quick or how far back should it be close to your application, or when you're submitting it? Is it that newer letters are considered or older letters are not favored? I just want some guidance on that. Then the last question, hopefully I'm not bombarding you with so much content to respond to. The last question is on EM program rotations. For people that are no longer in medical school, are there programs that allow non-medical students to get emergency medicine rotations, probably in hospitals or training institutions, that side, for exposure, and then probably also to have a chance at getting these letters of evaluation? Over to you, Doc.
All right, thank you, Kenneth. So your first question is the number of programs to apply to. What gave me the confidence to apply to around 60 programs? I won't lie, it's God and the fact that I had limited resources. So ideally, most people try to apply to as many programs as possible that sponsor visas, just to improve your chances, right, of getting as many interviews as possible and matching. It's just a numbers game, really. But at the time, I had limited resources, and I saw it more important for me to attend ASEP at the time than apply to much more programs where I don't know anybody and they might never look at my application. So I just took a calculated decision in attending ASEP and using some of my application money to do that, instead of just applying to as many programs as possible. And with that, I was able to narrow every program I applied to. I had studied them, done extensive research on them, come up with the list essentially from having attended open houses and meet and greets and everything. So I've come up with a very concise list when I was applying. So depending on your own situation and your own finances, and that would just be a decision you have to take by yourself when the time comes. I can't give you a number, but usually the safe number most people would say is 150, 120 programs, like that. But I took a calculated risk and decided to apply to less, having been able to network with plenty of people at ASEP. USMDs don't apply to as many programs. They just apply to maybe 50. Because they have rotated in some of those programs and they know them very well. Their chances of matching are like 80 to 90%. So they don't have to do too much. In about 10 years ago, people didn't used to apply. Even 5 years ago, people didn't used to apply to as many programs because a lot of interviews were in person. So imagine you had to travel to all the 50 states in the US. That would be, impossible or nearly impossible. depending on your financial status. So that's that about that. About the timeline for your slow is, I would say the more recent the evaluation, the better for you. Some programs will put it on their website if the letter of evaluation has to be within 1 year of your application. Some programs wouldn't care. And the idea basically is that you're a different person than you were last month, right? So talk less of who you were 5 years ago or 4 years ago. So you just want a more recent. So if you have the option of an evaluation that is close by, or you have the option of doing another one, I would say just do that before applying and get that recent one. However, if it's something like maybe US rotation you did 4 or 5 years ago and you don't have the opportunity of doing another one, I would say still use that. It's better than having nothing. And then the final question about non-medical students getting EM rotations. I highly doubt that a non-medical student will be able to get an EM rotation. However, the EM is a very free space in a sense, so they might be able to get the opportunity to volunteer at an ED and help as a volunteer with things, just run around and things like that. They may also be able to work with the paramedics units in an ambulance or at the fire station or something like that. I know some USMDs do that before they get into college to just help with some points and boost their CV. So those are the options I think non-medical people would have. Have I done justice to the questions? Did I miss anyone?
Yes, there is a question by Mohammed Ahmed. He's asking, how difficult is it to get into surgical residency for somebody who has done surgery in his mother country and currently practicing as a surgeon?
So essentially, the only worry about that is the fact that your year of graduation residency and you are currently practicing as a surgeon. It would mean that your year of graduation will probably be somewhere around 6 to 10 years, and that might not be as colorful, but it would also mean that you have a lot of research experience, attend a lot of conferences and network with a lot of people, partner with people for research efforts and the likes. If you're looking to apply to a surgical specialty still, I would say 3 things. One, you would most likely have to look at prelim. I'm not sure your chances of getting into a categorical specialty. Just not, besides the fact that your year of graduation, so you might be looking to prelim spots somewhere around, besides the 6 to 10 years, and that might not be as colorful. Also look at some other specialties that are less competitive. EM is less competitive than surgery, obviously. I know a lot of people, especially if you're looking for more advanced surgical specialties, it would also mean that you have a lot of research experience. Do another specialty like pediatrics or family medicine for 3 years. Apply to as many programs as possible. Attend a lot of people for research efforts, and they have all the likes. Everything they basically need. If you're looking to apply to surgical specialties still around. So that's one option. I would say the other route is 3 things. One, doing masters. You would most likely have to look at prelim. I'm not sure in the US your chances of getting into a categorical specialty does just not also help. Besides the fact that your research portfolio and network are now, you I don't know what your CV looks like, just based on the information I've read received, a year of graduation would be what you might get. And prelims spot is a very short spot, somewhere around, besides the 8 to 10 years, and that might not be as colorful. That might not be as colorful. Other specialties that are less competitive. EM is less competitive than surgery. I know a lot of people, especially if you're looking for more advanced surgery, it will also mean that you have a lot of research experience,
things that are very content.
Another specialty like pediatrics or family medicine, apply to as many programs as possible. Attend a lot of people for research efforts, and they have all the everything you basically need. If you're looking to apply to surgical specialty,
it's just a regular job interview. At the end of the day, you're
that's one option.
right?
The other route is three things.
One job interview would
masters will most likely have to look at prelim. I'm not sure in the US your chance to get into a category will help you better status. Just besides the fact that your research could help you and network you now
5 years, when you see yourself in 10 years.
All those interviews, I don't know what your CV looks like, just based on the information I've received.
That's what I practice with them now.
Do what you might get.
At the end of the day, stay true to yourself. You probably, I assume you probably are a good person. So being able to enunciate that during your interview is basically what they're looking for. Besides one interview I did while I was at my rotation in Pennsylvania, all my other interviews were online via Zoom or Talamus. And basically you set up your camera, you put on your suit, and you say cheese to answer questions they may throw out to you. Essentially, also you would want to have your own questions that suggest that you've done your research and you are very well interested, and you're thinking ahead of the challenge before you. So I think that's much about my interview experience.
Yeah, thank you. There's a question by Kenneth in the chat. Are there community programs that can take you on for an EM rotation, even without step 1 and step 2 for observerships?
Yes, definitely. Several community programs will do that. The best thing about observerships, right, is usually they are not as stringent as like proper rotations, proper internships. So
even without step 1 and
somebody
step 2
in the program, like something they've done before. Yes, definitely. Several community programs will do that. The best thing about observerships, right, usually they are not as stringent as proper rotations, proper internships. So
step 1 and
somebody
step 2 for
finally
something
I wanted to say something about the several community programs. I would advise you to someone. The best thing about I'm speaking from the observership guys of your graduation. Usually they are not stringent as proper rotations, proper internships. Somebody to finally I wanted to say something about the several community programs. I would advise to someone. The best thing about I'm speaking from the observership guys of your graduation. Usually they are not stringent as proper rotations, proper internships. I wanted to say something about several community
subscription based, and how did you structure your step 1 and step 2 preparation?
Yeah, so study materials most of them I got them offline, to be honest. Besides the Q banks, which I paid for. I'm speaking, like I said,
other ones like that. But the new world, yes, it's expensive. Definitely is worth every penny, to be honest with you.
How did you structure your
Save up
step one and step two preparation?
So study materials
for challenges.
Most of them I got them offline.
Definitely the stress of balance and everything.
Besides Q banks, which I paid for.
Like I said, yesterday is one challenge that every time I led the balance also getting people to understand why other ones like that pace that you hold, having to bury your head in the sand was one challenge. Over time, you get used to it and
how did you structure your
realize that
step one and step two preparation?
is more important.
So study materials,
financial challenges.
most of them I got them offline.
The stress of balance and everything.
Besides Q banks, which I paid for.
Financial I want to reach out to them for assistance, get as much support as you can and to see the process through. The only other challenge over time was just
how did you structure your
realizing for me personally,
so study materials,
challenges enabled me to
most of them I got them offline.
most times when I have my
Besides
mindset on
Q banks, which I paid for.
I just do that like I just push through it, right? So there were probably a lot of challenges along the way that get as much notice when I shared my story or I shared travels and all the accommodation, conferences and teachings I had to was just but at the end of the day I just realized that it's a small price to pay for my young and at the time it didn't really look like a challenge to me, especially now in hindsight. So I guess that's much about that. I don't know if I answered your question well enough.
Yeah, that was a perfect answer. A question somebody has shared with me is what role do these extracurriculars play in terms of the match process? Things like taking part, like as a Red Cross volunteer, being part of your school's surgery society, research and writers club, being into sports, among other things. This will be the final question, and then we shall call it an evening.
In terms of extracurriculars, I would say they're very important. They just speak to your ability to work in an organization because school is quite different from, the job, like say the workforce per se, because with school, like someone dictates where you go and how you stand and how you sit and all those kind of things. But when you get into the real world, you have to be the one to consciously take charge of projects. So that speaks to your ability to do that, and it also speaks to your interests. Like if you are interested in outreaches, how many have you done? If you see you're passionate about surgery, what have you done outside the regular thing? Because that's how I know that you're passionate, right? So extracurriculars are very good. They give you something to talk about. They speak to your personhood. And if you can get involved in some, I won't say too much, a counter effect of being overwhelming or just not being focused.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Okeya. And in the chat, you can find things that have been, for the rest of the guys on the call. Dr. Jessica has been sharing some very important information. For those who don't know, Dr. Jessica also matched into internal, and she's a mentor of our MakUSMLE Connect community. So I'd like to just request you, Dr. Okeya, to give us any parting shots that you can conclude the session.
Okay. Thank you very much for the honor of being here today. It's amazing that got as far as you as many people here. It's been a pleasure interacting with you, David, and everyone that's been interacting today. I think Vakaria, I hope I didn't murder your name. Kenneth, Dr. Jessica, thank you very much. I'll just say for students who are considering starting the process in school, start. For people who have finished from school for a while, who want to still apply, do your research, give it a go. It's tough. There is no assurances that you will get to where you're going, but if you give it your very best, you will most likely get there. The most important part of this process is network. Many people that have matched, probably from Uganda, from Nigeria, from get across